Good morning. It is an FTP Friday. What is up, my peeps? We got Henry Gray in the chat already this morning saying, Good morning, Lion family. FTP Friday, 100%. Figured I'd hype it up a little bit. We don't have much news, so let's have some good music in the background. I like this beat. Good morning, Dwayne. Great to see you today. That's right, I'm solo. I'm going to talk a little bit about this dead camp stuff because people don't realize how much we had in dead cap this year. It isn't pretty. Wayne Keene saying, let's go Detroit Lions, one pride, Kings of the North Division, championship title. See, we got 6 people watching. I'm going to let a few more jump in before I start that intro. Another great day to be alive. That's all I know. Flog the Porpoise Friday, yes. Should the Lions draft McKinstry? We'll talk about it. At least he was here for a visit. How you doing, Azandon? Good to see you on the morning show. It is intro time. Let's get it rolling.
Charles here locally in the community. Make sure y'all go check out New Cat Bodies by Jeremy Campbell.
All right, we had a few more jump in. King SJ saying morning JB is undone with a TGIF. No, it's an FTP Friday. Devin says morning, and he says, please no Kool-Aid. Well, he is the number 1 rated corner statistically. I don't that foot injury kind of scares me, kind of like the leg injury with Cooper DeJean, but both of them are on Brad Holmes' radar because of injuries. Because let's face it, he likes drafting first place stuff. Right. We learned last year that Lions talk to people to find out information about teammates. We just talked to Kool-Aid doesn't mean we talked to him. It could be we wanted info on Arnold. That's 100% true. But at the same time, lots of insiders mocks projecting DeJean all of a sudden to the Lions. And I'm going to give you 3 key factors. Number 1, his versatility. Number 2, he was a team captain. Number 3, as much as I hate to say it, injury history. Brad Holmes thinks we're good in the cornerback room right now. He said this several times. He'll address it in the draft, no more in free agency. And team captain is a very key thing. Let's see. Who have we talked to that have been team captains? Let's start at the top. Believe it or not, Matthew Betts. We signed him. I'm just saying, this is all people we've talked to in the free agency and on. We talked to Darius Robertson. We did quite a few interviews there. I can't remember them all right now, but almost every single one of them, except for two, were team captains. Guess who was not as a team captain? I didn't see a C on McKinstry. DJ Reader was a captain. I'm talking about mostly in the rookies. I didn't hate Cooper, but we'll be cool with him. But I don't see him outside. I see him playing the same role that Blanche plays. Now they could move Branch to the starting safety role and make Iffy a backup. Dijon has to get by Green Bay, so the Lions better trade up if they want him. I'm hearing you guys want another guy too, so yep. Charlie Campbell at Walter Football said he spoke to a source who said Kool-Aid has poor practice thing and thinks he can skate on his talent, apparently is the rumor. And this is true. I have heard all off season that he was horrible at practice for Alabama. That's not a Dan Campbell and Brad Holmes type of guy. So 20 days until the draft. That's right. It's April 5th. Whew. So let's go over this list that I want to talk about here. 23 million in dead cap is what we dealt with. Laporta is friends with Dijon and played with Campbell. Something small, Holmes, Williams. We were talking about practice. Iverson. I'm actually. You mean Graham Barton, the guard from Duke? He's actually a left guard, Steve. But Tracy Walker has 7 million on the books in dead cap, 7.3 to be exact. Big V, 3.8. Romeo Aquara, 3.5. Chauncey Gardner Johnson, 2 million. Charles Harris, almost 2 million. Graham Glasgow, even though we re-signed him because we did a futures contract, he has 1.5 on the books. Emmanuel Mosley still has 1 million on the books. Marvin Jones still has 800,000 because he never turned in his retirement paperwork. Teddy Bridgewater still has 500,000. He hasn't turned in his book yet either, but it was a future contract, so I think that stays. Isaiah Buggs still has 500,000 on the books. Chase Lucas has 50,000. Starling Thomas still has 13,000. Brandon Joseph, Corey Durden, Connor Galvin, and Chase Cota all at 10,000. Adrian Martinez, Ryan Svoboda, Greg Bell, Mohamed Ibrahim, Zach Morton, Brad Cecil, and Chris Smith. Yep, I'm starting to think that Holmes will trade back. I've been saying that I think he's trading back. One funky Lions fan, if Green Bay needs a safety, Minnesota Tyler Nubin is the top-rated safety in this draft. They could be in on him. And y'all do need one line. And let's see. God, I'm feeling like shit today. This cold or flu or whatever the fuck it is whooping my ass. Let me see what you said up there. I'm trying to get back to it, Orlando, because I was reading the list. A lot of depth. They are fine with eating Marvin and Teddy's money because of what happened to Marvin and what Teddy is doing now. Oh, yeah. It was a futures contract that we signed him to. Funky, my friend, Dijon can play safety, and Caton Aladapo from Oregon and Max Melton and Jerron Jorans at Florida State are on our radar. Safety and linebacker depth is a need. I don't see where we need a lot of linebacker depth. We actually have 6 linebackers on the roster, and we only play 2 at a time. because we're a 4-2-5 predominantly. I'm done trying to figure out what Holmes is going to do. Yeah. I think it's more likely we trade back out of round one than it is we trade up. I agree. Aaron Leiter comes in and says, "Good morning. Offensive tackle, offensive guard. Uh, Guard has the best talent in the O line, period. Cooper Beebe, Graham Barton, those guys are very versatile interior O linemen. What I like about Beebe is he can play left and right tackle, left and right guard. The only position he doesn't play is center. So if you draft him, you'll still have to draft a backup center later. In the staff we trust to get the guys we want and need. Yeah, I don't know about getting the guys they want and need. There's the key. That is what we do. Roar, go Lions. Nice. Big Z from Michigan too, yes. Lions seem to be scouting a lot of small receivers with return experience. Are they trying? No, because if you actually look at the new rules, you have to have two great returners. Go watch the XFL. Aaron Leiter says, "I can't stay on, but I'll rewatch later. I hope you all have a beautiful day. Go Lions." One pride, Aaron. You have a great day too. Newbin RAS was very low. Goody don't draft guys with low RAS. RAS is not always the best thing. NJTC 01, late to the party. You're okay. Why do you think Cooper Beebe is so underrated by some guys? A lot of us believe he's the best guard in the draft, but I see a lot of second round and third grade. He was a first rounder to begin with. He would have been the best guard if he came out a year early last year. Um, I don't know why he's so underrated. But as far as the type of guys that Brad Holm looks for, he's a team captain. He's very versatile on the O line. Makes sense. We need a returner besides Raymond. Absolutely. I like that idea. Trade back and get our fourth back. Get another late round pick. Absolutely. Let's argue about Goff and his long ball. Um, his long ball, if you watch it, it wobbles. It is not that accurate. He doesn't put it where the other guys are a lot, and people have to adjust to it. BB is a two-time team captain, yes. Isn't the Liars radar on that guy, Missouri Robert? Yeah, but he's dropping to a second round pick. That's, yeah, there's no argument on Goff's long ball. He's got a long duck. I'm excited for Hendon Hooker this preseason as well, there, Devin. What if Holmes doesn't go CB until day 3? And he might not. Think about what's needed. Decker's in the last year of his contract, goes to a voided contract next year. So we either had to draft his replacement or extend him. Ricky Sakat in the chat. Good morning, JB. So we have to think about drafting his replacement. Kevin Zietler is a stopgap at 33 years old. So we're going to have to draft his replacement. We don't know that Colby Sorsdal is it. We know Coyote Asika isn't it, or they wouldn't have signed Zietler. So drafting that replacement is necessary too, for who can eventually slide in and start. And I like the idea of Cooper Beebe's. That's basically what I was saying. I don't mind Skipper playing in spot starts, but I don't want him to play an entire game. He's long in the tooth as well. Darius Robinson's already slid back into the 40s. I don't see taking him at 29. Guards play until they're like 50. Sometimes, not really. It's tackle that played till 41 with Whitworth. There is not a single guard that's played till 50. Darius 3-4 Big N, he's a lot like this gal. Big Dan, I want the Lions to draft guys that are dropping. Well, Steve, you're going to be drafting guys that are dropping too. And here's why. We already have seen rumors of 5 or 6 quarterbacks going in the top 15 picks. We see rumors of 4 to 5 receivers going for the first top 20 picks. What is the greatest weakness of the team measured against the schedule? It's defense. I'm not I'm not going to knock Goff. He had a great season, but there's a reason why he did not get a deal done yet. What players do I think could drop to 29? Well, as much as anyone doesn't think so, it's Kool-Aid, McKinstry, Barton. Um, I don't see Chop falling past 20. I don't see him falling past the Cowboys. I think that's where he goes. And in the second round, I hear they're big on Jonathan Brooks, the big, fast running back out of Texas. Key to the knowing that one is their doctor performed the ACL surgery on Jonathan Brooks, and he also did all the rehab for him. The Cowboys doctor. True, true, true. But we're one of the best developing teams, as are the Lions. If you say they're not, you're lying to yourself. The Lions draft Branch after he dropped out of the first. They also draft St. Brown after he dropped. Actually, St. Brown was slated as the 5th best wide receiver. He was supposed to go in the second round and slid because of sexual allegations that came out a week prior to the draft. And then a day into the draft, they mysteriously disappeared because the charges were dropped. I agree. There's a ton of first round talent dropping because QB and receivers are climbing quick. Another guy that we could take, and people say they don't like him, but he has the best hands in this draft. And I don't care what anybody says. Go look up the drop rate. It's Adonai Mitchell. Yes, Amon Ra went in the 4th round in day 3. He was slated to be a second round pick. He dropped due to sexual allegations. Facts. Yeah, well, Vogel's in the chat. What's up, BCP? Yes, St. Brown was a 4th rounder. Here's the 4 guys I hope we draft as in QBs. Dijon, Max Melton, Jerron Jones, and Kitten Aladipo. Good morning, JB and Fred. St. Brown was late second to the mid third on most. Yes, but he was considered the win right after the combine. Even with the poor speed, he was rated the 6th best wide receiver in the draft that year. I agree about Goff not getting a deal. I'm neither his nor neither his or the team's interest. If he reaches his goal to win the Super Bowl, no problem. If he fails, the team will have to move on. Absolutely, I have said that. The Super Bowl is the goal for Goff to be able to get an extension. It's kind of been made clear when he turned down When he turned down the $43 million at the bye week, it made it so he's that way. A lot of highs out there and subs from Steve Israel, to Bear Down Mike and everything else. I am assuming that at some point we draft a wide receiver. I hope we do draft an ex big body guy like Mitchell or someone in the 6'3" or higher. And Devin, I agree. St. Brown remembers all 16 wide receivers that was drafted ahead of him. Oh, God. The comments are coming in so fast I can't keep up because you guys got to slow down. Yes, he was brought up on sexual charges that were dropped and they disappeared off of media just before the draft. I've addressed this a couple of times already. No, there was sexual allegations about St. Brown too. I don't blame Goff. He had a good game, but there was a lot of drops too. I blame not running the ball. I blame Josh Reynolds for dropping 2 passes in his hands on 4th down on perfectly called plays. More than anything. And his reaction to him. Laughing and chuckling, walking to the sidelines, laughing in the presser and saying shit happens and walking off the stage. It's one of the reasons. I think that's the biggest reason. Laporta low-key had a lot of drops this year too. I'm right. I'm on Rossley. No, that's not why. Would we draft a right and move Panay or draft a left? I've never said Goff is not the reason we win or lose any game. Regardless, we were up that game. It was over at halftime. Our shit defense. Well, if the offense doesn't maintain time of possession, it's hard for a defense to stay focused. You gotta remember, we kicked off to them, they scored, we get the ball back, there was the fumble. We didn't run again to the 4th quarter. We only ran the ball 6 times in the entire second half. That's the big thing. I'm not big into wrestling anymore, Tina. I hardly ever watch it. The Gibbs fumble was a turning point. The bounce off the face mask to Ayuk on the long pass. Who are we talking about? Everybody, you guys are going in way too many directions. I can't keep up. It's funny, some Lions fan we're not taking a running back probably this draft at all. If anything, it'll be a UDFA for depth. So hoping all these QBs get drafted, we should have a stud fall in our lap if 6 QBs go. The whole team's play calling in the 3rd quarter sucked all season. I can show you the stats to prove it. On Reynolds, I blame him 100% on the 3rd and 8 drop, but Goff gets some of the blame on the 4th and 3. I blame Goff and Laporta on the 3rd down drop because he led them into a hit. I was looking at the 21 draft, Amari Rogers 3rd round. Motherfucker's in the UFL now. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, we had chances to call running plays. Any 1st or 2nd down, we could have been. The stats on the third quarter, it's tremendously low. We were in the top 5 scoring in all the other quarters. We dropped to 17th in the 3rd quarter all season. Defensively, somewhere between 17 and 20 in the other 3 quarters. 32nd in the lead in scoring against in the 3rd quarter. It's an adjustment that has to be made. What's weird though is after the Chicago game, when Dan Campbell did his presser and said, "I'm going to put my hands on the defense." If you look at the scoring in the 3rd quarter, It has nothing to do about a limited quarterback. You're right. Actually, the highest rate is QB. The second highest is cornerback. The third is linebacker. Anytime you heard him say "kill, kill, kill," that was an audible, and he killed about half of his first down calls. So I think he checked out of a lot of run plays. He was doing that a lot with Anthony Lynn too, if you remember right, back at the first part of the season in 2021. He would kill, 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 and next thing you know, we'd call a pass play on a first down. Keep it up, Jeremy TV. Yes, do your quarterback can't run, play be limit. The Lions had a negative plus minus in the third. The rest of the quarters, Lions had a plus. Exactly my point there, one funky Lions fan. I went over that stat a lot. Goff's leaving with Johnson. I hope we get one last hurrah. I don't see why we shouldn't. Yes, everybody in the North got better, but everybody's forgetting we got better too. We got better just by our subtractions alone, let alone what we added. Everybody said they wanted Cam Sutton gone. Well, you got what you wanted. He's gone, right? We got rid of the Aquaras. Both were injured most of the time. Goff is leaving after this year if he doesn't get us to the Super Bowl 100%. I guarantee it. We improved at secondary despite what you think, Bear Down Mike. Right. This is what I'm getting at. The NFC North is probably the most improved division. Yes, Big Dan Davis, you're exactly right. I understand. I'm just saying what everybody wanted. Fred, you heard it. You've seen it in the chat. Is Okora Spanish for ghost? I was thinking for injured. Packers have 12 after their compensatory picks. Yes, they have 12 draft picks. Caleb Williams bust, not gonna make it. Paints his nails. He's gay. Uh, can't make statements like that. I know JB and I have, and they are idiots. Good morning, Brent. All right, so let's slow down because I can't keep up with the chat. You guys are great, though. I love it. I love when we're active like this. Let's get into this now. Let's. Kool-Aid came in for a visit. What if it's Dallas Turner? What if it's Chris? Von Doom has to work Friday through Monday, so he'll be back on Tuesdays through Wednesdays. Mondays and Fridays, it's all me. You get me 100%. Von Doom will always be on the night shows, though. You know, we can't label a guy a bust before he gets on the field. I don't like anybody being labeled a bust. If Caleb Williams is good, he'll be everything they wanted Justin Fields to be. My thing is it points to him having a very Justin Fields esque for still know we're waiting on the NFL, Orlando. Anyways, oh, you have 11. Okay, I got you, Big Dan. Waterboy Cena. What's up, my Detroit nation? How you doing, my man? First time I seen you here. Good to see you. Um. Anyways, back to what I was talking about. Where was I at? Caleb Williams. If you look at Justin Fields' record versus top 25 teams and Caleb Williams' record versus top 25 teams, it's very similar. He struggles against elite defenses. So he had very poor numbers versus top 25 teams and great numbers against the poor Pac 12 defense. Paul Jones, it's absolutely right. It's even been noted in his draft profile that he does not like practice. I'm just saying they brought him in for a visit. My favorite part of the drafts are the boos. It's been that way ever since Roger Goodell's been here. You know, what's funny is his biggest boos came right after the rookie CBA that took away the big money for rookies. You're right, Bear Down Mike. It's why I think you guys should trade back still to take the pressure off of him. I people don't understand. The Heisman is one thing, but let's look at the Heisman winners over the last that's been drafted at one. Trevor Lawrence. Is he great? Is he really worth that top 10 ranking? Look at his stats and look at Daniel Jones. We do, and there's a reason why we stopped making big signings. That's why we stopped. Do you mean Latu, the edge out of Washington? I don't think he falls that far. Will CBA be affected by NIL and first? No, NIL has to do with college. It has nothing to do with the NFL because they have to declare themselves eligible for the draft in order to get that. Latu is probably one of the best defensive linemen in this draft. His neck injury that he healed from, it's one hell of a story, but I think he's more complete than everybody else. I think he's better than Jared Verse and Chop Robinson, actually, if you actually look at his game tape. Well, they can't sign him until after the UFL season. I prefer Jaden Daniels. He's a more complete QB and played against better defenses. I agree with that. And a lot of people put the team results behind the quarterback that plays, and that's one of the reasons why JJ's being ranked up there as a top 5 pick now. And I find that ludicrous as a Michigan fan myself. He may be a winner, but for as many wild throws as JJ has, he has those what WTF throws. I don't think Rattler's going to be good in the NFL at all. I think you're all sleeping on if Penix didn't have his history. I think he's the best quarterback this draft. Not if we want to be able to afford our draft picks, because there's a chance that the voided contract doesn't get voided. If that happens, we automatically have another $7.5 million cap hit, which will take our cap room down from 22 million to 15 million. You usually like to keep between 5 and 6 million for injury signings during the season. After his pro day, he's being talked about as a first round pick. Yeah, we were looking at their wide receivers and their O line. Um, I agree with your take on Penix. Well, Behan had more yards, but Gibbs had more touchdowns in total production when you added in his receiving ability. Um, it wasn't all Arthur Smith's fault. That O-line stopped blocking as well for the run game. He still had more rushing yards than Gibbs. He, but Gibbs was the bigger hit. I don't think we should draft Penix. I think Brad Holmes has done 10 years of homework on Hendon Hooker. Oh, and I'm not going to argue about it. They're about the same caliber of back. One thing's for sure, Brad Holmes will probably get another Alabama player. I don't think so. I mean, if he falls to the fifth or something, that's not happening. Um, I think they should take Joe Milton. I think 100% because Joe Milton filled in for Hendon Hooker and did a lot of the same things that Hendon Hooker did, but no legs. He was all arm. He ton of arm strength. He had virtually the same arm strength as Hendon Hooker had that year. Total yards, Gibbs had more. Um, Anybody that I named Suckfelt, you tell me, do I like him? I saw him at Michigan. Milton, not that guy. Well, all I know is he's got a cannon for an arm. I'm saying as a late round pick for QB3, so Suckfelt doesn't have to hit the field. I wouldn't mind Milton late. Yeah, but I'm not talking about taking him in the first round in Orlando. I'm not saying go. Jamarcus Russell was another one that was a horrible first pick. We didn't re-sign Will Harris. Will Harris is gone. Oh, there was a 4.8 earthquake by Jersey. Wow, that's huge. I wouldn't mind a late round pick of Milton. He's got a cannon for an arm, but that boy needs to learn how to put some touch on it. He wildly overthrow almost all of his wide receivers at the combine, especially short. Poles should trade back from 9 only if Alt is gone. You should go ahead and grab another wide receiver. I'm sorry. I still think you need another wide receiver. Jamarcus Russell got drafted over Calvin Johnson, biggest bust ever. Oh, pardon me. Oh man, you guys are keeping it hopping today. Who's the white guy CB that's climbing the draft board? It's Cooper DeJean. And yes, bear down. Bears need O line help. They need interior O line help more than tackle. I thought because you guys just got rid of your best rated interior O lineman in Cody Whitehair, and I know it was to clear cap room, but you guys really didn't need the extra cap room, which made no sense to me. So I think you guys need a guard, and I would trade back to like 15. I know Tony Mandarich. I know exactly who you're talking about. So does Steve is real. Yeah. But at the same time, want to know what was a bigger bust? We drafted Terry Fair over Randy Moss. We drafted Eric Ebron over Aaron Donald. I think Rice is going to be there in Steve. I actually might be at the draft. I'm waiting to find out if my paper gets their press credentials. And if they do, I will be attending the draft as a member of the Motor City Tribune. And drafted Okuda over Herbert, yes. The curse was our front office and our coaching staff and everything. This is the first time we've had a complete coaching staff together. Our tight end curse ended with Hawk. Not really. The main reason why Tony Mandridge was a bouncer for the Silver Dollar. I met him there several times. Cool if you go to the draft. That's awesome. But believe it or not, Hawk was not what he was touted to be. The reason we drafted Hawkinson, the main reason was he was touted as an extra tackle blocking in the run and passing game. We found out real quick that was not the case. And funny that as soon as he goes to Minnesota, he learns how to block again. Because while he was here, he may have been a top 10 receiving a tight end, but he was bottom 10% of the entire league. The VIP experience is very expensive. The tickets to actually watch from anywhere out there past the mosh pit is actually free. From the mosh pit forward, it starts at $1,250 a ticket. And the mosh pit is that plethora of fans on the backside of where all the war zone stuff happens. Iowa's tight end U. Let's get no. We drafted Charles Rogers over Troy Polamalu and Terrell Suggs. Absolutely. Bear down, Mike. You need to wait for the report on JPJ's medicals. The reports are he may even fall out of the first round because there's something bad in his medical report. Brock Wright's contract details came in super cheap. Good. He might have been smarter just to sign the tender. Notre Dame is tight end U. The Millen era hurt so much. Terry Fair over Randy Moss was the guy just before Millen. Just so you know. Just think, that was right after we got rid of Herman Moore. We drafted a third rounder that year in Jermaine Crowell, Pegleg, as I like to call him after he hurt his leg. That was all Joey Harrington had. If we would have drafted Randy Moss that year instead of Terry Fair. We drafted a kick returning corner that had trouble covering over Randy Moss because he smoked weed. Oh, 100%. A lot of Quinn picks are still in the NFL. Laken Tomlinson went to a Super Bowl and has been rated as a 15. Lions drafted Mike Williams over DeMarcus Ware. Yeah. Believe it or not, I want Cooper DeJean over Kool-Aid. I want a team leader over a guy that doesn't like to practice. Okay, if there's something in his medical, still move back and get a wide receiver 11 or 12. Second, grab Cedric Van Pran, center out of Georgia. On to the mother's nectar. Yes, I went back to the big bottle. You know why? The small ones weren't getting it. Nectar of the Gods, Pepsi people, if you're watching. Yes, I want a sponsorship. Oh, Skip Smith says amen to Cooper. It's saying that he'll be healthy enough to be ready to go at training camp time anyways. Uh, he's doing a personal workout here in the next few days. Personally, I would like to get an extra lineman maybe in the second round. And the more I look at it, if let's say if Bo Nix or Michael Penix GM rank, who's the best? Well, it was voted Brad Holmes was last year. Gudikers was voted into the top 10. Quezzy did not make the top 10, nor did Ryan Poles last year. I'm just saying last year. Right. Fire Spitter at Kool-Aid would fit our needs in press coverage, but he is not a practice guy. And that's something Dan Campbell is big on having Holmes get in the draft as people who like to practice and be a dog at practice. Because if they're a dog at practice, they're a dog in games. Eagles, Bears, San Fran, and us, Houston too. Bears didn't get ranked in the top 10 last year. Cowboys didn't either because Jerry Jones is probably an idiot. I Thank you, Steve Israel. That's right. Hit the like button. And it's getting close to where I got to start getting ready for my job. So it's time to start talking about our sponsors. And yes, every Friday, like every day of the week, Steve Israel, close your eyes, close your ears. It's an FTP Friday. Put it in the chat, everybody. Too late. Flog the porpoise. Free the pack. Free the puppies. For that matter, put an FDB in there for fuck the Bears too. Yeah, pretty good on YouTube, but I got 23 total with the between Twitter and everybody else. It's been pretty good. FTB harder. Let's put an FSKOL there. Why not? Well, it's time to talk about the sponsors that pay the bills. We got Gloss Negron, the best window tinner in Saginaw and the Tri-Cities. Give them a call, 409 Hamilton Street, 989-443-9240. Set your appointment, get your whip looking great. He also does auto detailing too. Get it ready for summer and the car shows like this 300C class here. Yes. Well, that's one thing that everybody's been forgetting about. DJ Reader said he's going to take him under his wing and teach him a little more. Yankees are 6-1. Tigers are 5-1. That is actually what I'm thinking. Chris Braswell could be the guy in the second round. SKOL is Skunks Killed Online. I thought it meant still keep on losing. But yeah, the Kool-Aid interview is to get information on other guys that we could get in the draft, possibly in the second or later rounds. There's quite a few Alabama players that are actually decent. I don't think it's much on Terry and Arnold. I think he's one of the first first cornerbacks off the ride. Fuck the Yankees, the damn Dallas Cowboys of baseball. The thing that's been killing the Yankees has been health of their roster. If they can stay healthy, they've got a murderer's row again. With all the big bombers they got on that roster. Got to get the last of Nick Saban's era. Amen, Fred. But I think I remember another team that went 5-1 for the Detroit Tigers. If you want to talk a little baseball for a minute, uh, that was the 2016. Yeah, 2016 Tigers. And before that, you had to go all the way to 1984. Food for thought. I'm not saying it's going to last because if they can't generate more runs within regulation, they're going to fall into some problems. That the pitching is looking really well. Actually, you know what he retired from? He talked about it a lot. It had to do with NIL because no longer was the Alabama the best paid team in college football. Just saying. Eventually, there's going to be some sanctions found. Yankees have too many big egos. Yeah, the Pirates are actually doing really well, but they started out like this last year. They got to have staying power. Pitching staff look stacked. I can't wait to see Brad Holmes have a heart attack over his draft picks. He does it every year. I'd be a St. Louis Cardinals fan. His players complaining about playing time or they're transferring. That's the transfer portal, NIL, and everything else. Prior to the NIL, Alabama was top 4 every year. After the NIL, he started losing games. The NIL is the key. That's why he retired. He can't compete with that in the transfer portal. I wish we'd have kept Scherzer over Verlander myself. I missed the Scherzer, Verlander, Nate Robertson, um, God, who else? Rick Porcello. That was one hell of a roster to throw out. Yeah, I think he's going to move back in the draft. If not the first round, he may move out of the second round. We'll see. I think he's trading back. Well, guys, it's time to talk about my last sponsor before I get out of here. Brandon Service at the corner of South Grand Traverse and West Atherton Road, 602 West Atherton Road. Come and check us out. Great prices on used tires and great prices on new tires, too. If you need a quote for new tires, give us a call, 810-233-8230. You will be talking to either George, Red, or myself. How will Bama be without Saban? They'll probably be good for a year or two and have a fall off. Anytime you have a legendary coach leave and you hire from within, but they didn't. Who'd they get? Didn't they get the guy from Oregon? They might be all right. He's a good coach. Um, but still, we got to see how he transitions into the SEC. Either got him or the guy from Washington. I can't remember. Been too long. Haven't been focused on college as much other than the players coming out in the draft. There's that Fridays van, Big Worms van. Yes, sir. Well, thank you, everybody. And as I always say, try every day to be a better person than you were the day before. It's the only way to make the world a better place. It starts within here. Much love. I appreciate everybody here. I hope you all have a blessed day. Tune in tonight as we do the Lions Fan Cave chat. Um, Not a lot of news, so we're probably doing mock drafts again. Mock drafts are fun. And if you're a fan of another team and you want to draft for your team, we'll let you do it through the chat. That's no problem. But stay blessed, everybody. Stay real and stay cool.